Hola a todos, buenas noches. Hoy es martes 26 de marzo de 2024. Son las 7 de la noche en Colombia. Yo soy Mike y les doy la bienvenida al día 8 de nuestro curso básico de español Charlemos Pues, un curso enfocado en conversación. Hi everybody, good evening. Today is Tuesday, March 26th, 2024. It's 7 p.m. in Colombia. I'm Mike, and I bid you welcome to day 8 in our Charlemos Pues basic Spanish course focused on conversational Spanish. So far, I hope you've been having fun with these classes. This is day 8. I want to thank every one of you, the ones who are here tonight live with us, especially thanks to my dearest friend Serena, Adventures with Red and Magic in the house. Please make sure you're gonna check her channel on YouTube. I'm gonna write it here, youtube.com/at adventures with Red and Magic. A lot of interesting stuff there for gamers, especially. I love you, my friend. And her birthday is tomorrow, so happy birthday in advance. I'll give you a call later, of course. So thanks to all of you, the ones who are here live tonight with us, and also to all of you, the ones who are watching this video later, because this video is part of a public playlist in which I have these classes, and also a special thanks to the members of the channel, the people who are part of the membership program. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. I love you too, my friends. So let's start with tonight's subject. We've been practicing, we've been learning stuff that can be useful for us. Basic stuff. We have learned numbers. We have learned how to ask and tell the time. We have learned how to introduce ourselves. Basic stuff, right? Basic greetings. But tonight the plot thickens because we are going to start learning the structure for the sentences in Spanish. How to build sentences, right? Which is basically what we need in order to speak. And first things first, we need to talk about pronouns, because that's something that can be tricky in Spanish. I do have some videos about this, and tonight at 8 p.m. Colombian time, meaning in 1 hour, after this class, in 1 hour at 8 p.m., let's say the other times, depending on where you are, let's say for my friends here in the United States right now, it's gonna be at 9 p.m., right? We are premiering a brand new video in which I go with the ultimate guide on how to use you in Spanish, because you, it's hard to learn in Spanish because we have 5 different we have tú, vos, usted, vos. Yeah, 5 different ways of saying you in Spanish, and it can be tricky. So tonight we're going to talk about, oh, I'm having issues with the connection right now. Hopefully this is not gonna get bad, because last night while I was going live for my other channel, the other channel that I have, I had issues and I had to stop the live class. Hopefully, if it gets worse, I'm gonna have to stop, because it can get really bad. So hopefully, let's keep our fingers crossed, and this is not gonna happen. If that happens, maybe I'll have to wait maybe until 8. I don't know. Hopefully not. But let's try and do what we were supposed to do tonight. So tonight we're going to talk about building sentences, and first things first, the first things that we're going to try and learn are personal pronouns, understanding personal pronouns in Spanish. So we have I, you, he, she, it, we, and they, right? In English. In Spanish, it's a little bit different. Let's go with the easiest ones. I, yo, right? That's easy. Yo, I am Miguel. Yo soy Miguel. Perfect. He, él. She, ella. We, nosotros. They, ellos. We have two tricky pronouns here. The first one is you. Why? Because for you, we have 5 different translations in Spanish. You can be either singular or plural in Spanish. If it's singular, we have 3 different ways of saying you. If it's plural, we have 2 different ways of saying you. For singular, we have tú, which is informal for close relationships. I'll go further with this explanation in the video that we're going to premiere in 1 hour. Please check that video. If we want to be formal, we use usted. And in some regions, we use vos, which is like a medium, like halfway formal, informal. Let's say informal, right? Not as informal, not as close as tú, but can be used. Vos for singular. So we have those 3. And we have for plural, ustedes and vosotros. Vosotros is not, vosotros is basically in Spain, basically. So I'm from Colombia. My Spanish is Latin American Spanish, and we never use vosotros in Latin America. All of the countries in Latin America, we never use vosotros. But in Spain, they use vosotros. Vosotros is useful if you're going to live in Spain. And you want to understand people there, you know that they're going to say, people from Spain, they're going to say vosotros instead of ustedes. But if you get there and you use ustedes, they're going to understand you and they will know that your Spanish is not from Spain, but nonetheless, you're going to be able to communicate. That's for you. And there's something about it. It, we never use it as a personal pronoun. We don't have a personal pronoun for it. So let's say when we talk about it rains, we don't say ello or eso llueve, because you see I have placed 2 translations for it in Spanish that sometimes work, but those translations are just for like a guide there, right? So for it, we just skip. We never use a pronoun for it. When you have any sentence, when you are using it as a personal pronoun, be careful. Personal pronoun, not an object pronoun, a personal pronoun. If it's a personal pronoun, we never translate that in Spanish. So it hurts, duele. It smells, huele. It snows, neva o nieva. It rains, llueve. So it makes sense, tiene sentido. So whenever we use it, we never translate that in Spanish. So basically, that's the first thing that we need to know about personal pronouns. As I explained before, I do have some videos in which I go deep explaining about personal pronouns in Spanish, and also I do have several videos in which I explain the conjugation rules for regular verbs, of course, because that's why they're called regular verbs. Conjugation rules for regular verbs in Spanish for all of the subjects, pronouns, and also some irregular verbs, most of the used irregular verbs in Spanish. So make sure watch those videos, practice that, because that's very important for what we are going to do tonight. And of course, we're going to talk about sentence structure. Sentence structure in Spanish is basically the same as in English, meaning subject, verb, object. Basically, we use that for affirmative, negative, interrogative sentences is basically that. What's the catch? The catch is that sometimes we skip drop the pronoun. Most of the times, basically. But we can start thinking and saying that we are going to use always the pronoun. Here, for our learning purposes, we're not going to skip the pronoun for studying purposes, for learning purposes. Okay. So when it comes to affirmative sentences in Spanish, we're going to use subject, verb, object, basically in every sentence. So I say, yo como carne. I eat meat. You see, it's the same structure. Yo como carne. The catch here is how do I conjugate the verb according to this to the tense. Let's say right now I'm talking in simple present. Simple present. Yo como carne. And remember, I told you, I'm not going to go deep here in these videos, in these classes with the conjugation rules, because I do have videos in which I go deep in that, and you can go and practice a lot that, because we need to understand this very, very well in order to do this. But basically, once I've practiced this a lot, I can just go and start building the sentences, affirmative sentences, and let's talk right now simple present tense. So for tonight, for now, for the time being, we're going to talk simple present tense, right? Or present simple. And the structure is subject, verb, object. So let's say if I say tú tienes dinero, you have money. See, it's the same. Usted tiene dinero. I can say, usted tiene dinero. It's the same. Vos tenés dinero. Ustedes tienen dinero. Tienen. And, whoops, sorry. And vosotros tenéis dinero. This would be all of the options for you. Tú, usted, vos, ustedes, y vosotros. Remember, vosotros for Spain. All of this, sorry, all of this for Latin America. This for informal close relationships. This one for formal. This one like a midway, half formal, half informal, but mostly informal. In some regions, they do that a lot. Vos tenés, like Argentina, Chile, Paraguay. They do that a lot there. So it's a good thing that you get used to that. Él tiene dinero. Bueno, another sentence. Él viaja mucho. He travels a lot. Ella lee libros. She reads books. Llueve. It rains, right? Remember here we're not using, as I explained before, we don't use the pronoun. And nosotros vamos a clase. We go to class. And ellos recorren, a different one. Ellos compran comida. They buy food. So as you can see here in these structures, we use subject, verb, object for all of the sentences, affirmative sentences. Yo como Karen. Now, as I explained before, we drop the subject, meaning that as I explained here, let me say, skip dropping all personal pronouns. These sentences, I can say como carne. Tienes dinero. Tiene dinero. Tenés dinero. Tienen dinero. Tenéis dinero. Viaja mucho. I can just skip the pronoun and nothing's gonna happen because I'm gonna be I'm gonna be understood. But first, we're going to try and practice a lot these sentences using subject verb object form. This is affirmatives for affirmative sentences. This is quite easy. I'm sorry. And now what you have to start doing is try to do this same thing with very basic sentences, not complex sentences at first, because we need to get used to this, right? You're going to practice a lot with all of the pronouns with different verbs, conjugation for the verbs. The rules are, I have other videos in which I explain in full detail this. Now, what happens if I want to build a negative sentence? A negative sentence. What is the structure? The structure for the negative sentences, I'm going to copy this. Let's see. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to say negative sentences here. Negative sentences is the same subject, verb, object. But the thing is that we place no in between the subject and the verb. No. That means that simply by saying yo no como carne. Tú no tienes dinero. Usted no tiene dinero. I'm going to copy this. Vos no tenés dinero. Ustedes no tienen dinero. Vosotros no tenéis dinero. Él no viaja mucho. Ella no lee libros. No llueve. Nosotros no vamos a clase. Ellos no compran comida. Meaning that, unlike English, Spanish, negative sentences structure is very easy because we just place a no between the subject and the verb. That's it. That's it. Doesn't have anything else. And we don't make differences for no according to the subject, as we have to do in English, because we have to do she doesn't, I don't, right? With the do and the not. In Spanish, we just go with no. And the structure is very, very, very easy, as you can see here. So if I have any affirmative sentence in Spanish, I can just turn that into negative sentence just by placing the no before the verb. So if I say, entiendo bien, no entiendo bien. This time I skipped the pronoun, you see? See what I did? I just skipped the pronoun to say that. If I say, nosotros estamos en clase, the negative would be nosotros no estamos en clase, and that's it. It's so easy. Subject, verb, object, and with the no. Affirmative, negative. So, this is a very easy way to start practicing basic sentences. So, let's say, yo viajo a Nueva York mañana. Yo viajo a Nueva York mañana. This is a little bit more complex sentence, but nonetheless is a simple present tense saying that the literal translation would be I travel to New York tomorrow. Yo viajo a Nueva York mañana. It's easy. Subject, verb, object. Yo viajo a Nueva York. With a little thing at the end. Extra information. Mañana. When? Tomorrow. Mañana. I travel to New York tomorrow. Yo viajo mañana. If I want to say the same in a negative form, I just place the no before the verb. Yo no viajo a Nueva York mañana. And that's it. Super easy. Let's try with subjects that are not pronouns. Mi esposa cocina mucho. Mi esposa cocina mucho. My wife. Hey, that's great. Welcome. Bienvenido. Bienvenida. Bienvenido. Oh, sí. Bienvenido. That's good. Seeing you here. Welcome. So, mi esposa cocina mucho. Simple present tense. Subject, mi esposa. Verb, cocina. Mi esposa es ella. She She cooks a lot. Mi esposa cocina mucho. My wife cooks a lot. Mi esposa cocina mucho. The subject, mi esposa. The verb, cocina. There is no object here, but complementary information, mucho. And in order to turn that into a negative sentence, mi esposa no cocina mucho. Easy, right? El profesor viene hoy. The teacher comes today. El profesor viene hoy. El profesor no viene hoy. The teacher, is not coming today. El profesor no viene hoy. La clase es larga. The class is long. La clase es larga. La clase no es larga. Negative form. So in this way, we have an easy way of building affirmative sentences in Spanish, knowing our pronouns and knowing our verbs. Of course, remember we must study that. But the structure is fairly easy. Now, what's the tricky part for the interrogative sentences? For the interrogative sentences, there's a tricky part. And I'm going to show you that right away. Second, I'll move here. Boop. Okay, interrogative sentences, and let's go here. Okay, interrogative sentences, right? Let's change the no because we don't need the no here. Actually, I should have, maybe it's easier to just delete or copy. I already started deleting, so give me just a second here. And we're going to learn how to build an interrogative sentences. The official way, like I wouldn't say the right way, but the official way, if you want to do this by the book, right? An interrogative sentence in Spanish, it would be verb, subject, object. That would be the way to say that, right? This would be like by the book, right? So that means that if the affirmative sentence is yo como carne, the interrogative sentence would be como yo carne. Como yo carne. The interrogative form would be ¿tienes tu dinero? ¿Tiene usted dinero? ¿Tenés vos dinero? ¿Tienen ustedes dinero? ¿Tenéis vosotros dinero? This is because I need the starting question mark. In Spanish, it's well, basically I have to have this. In Spanish it works like that. In English, we don't need that. Él viaja mucho. Viaja él mucho. And true. ¿Lee ella libros? ¿Llueve? I'm gonna have to move this a little bit here. That's vamos nosotros a clase. And whoops, sorry. Compran ellos comida. And that would be like the accurate, the right way, the by the book way of asking questions in Spanish, the interrogative sentence structure for questions in Spanish. The good thing is that, the good and the bad thing, I don't know how to say this, but anyhow, The good thing is that we can do this way, or we just need to change the inflection of the sentence. And if I say yo como carne, that's an affirmative sentence. But if I say yo como carne, I'm already in. That's automatically I'm switching to a question. So I can use the same. The good thing is that I can use the same structure for an affirmative sentence, and that's going to make your life so easy. That means that this exists. You can find and hear people talking like that, but most likely in Spanish, when it comes to questions, you're going to find this. So I say, yo como carne, I'm asking. And it's the same structure. ¿Tú tienes dinero? ¿Usted tiene dinero? ¿Vos tenés dinero? You see how the inflection goes? ¿Tienen dinero? ¿Ustedes tienen dinero? ¿Vosotros tenéis dinero? ¿Él viaja mucho? So, I can go by the book, but if I want to make my life easier, I just change the inflection of the sentence, and then automatically it automatically becomes an interrogative sentence. So easy. So building affirmative, negative, and interrogative sentences in Spanish is fairly easy because the structure is easy. And if I want to make it easier, I just need to use the same structure for the affirmative sentences with the inflection. Here I have a question. Hey, Ozone Quebec. ¿Con qué frecuencia se usa la forma vosotros? Never. In Colombia, we never use vosotros. In Latin America, we never use vosotros. Vosotros is a form that is basically exclusive from Spain. Or from Old Spanish, which comes from Spain, of course. The Latin American countries, we never use vosotros. Never. In Colombia, we never use vosotros. So, if you're learning Spanish and you want to move to Spain, get used to the vosotros, because they say vosotros all of the time. For you, plural, vosotros. But if you're not going to Spain, don't worry about vosotros. Don't worry about vosotros. You will hear that from people from Spain. That's it. You're going to get that from if you're in Spain, but in Latin American countries, we just use ustedes, and that's it. That's it. Period. You don't need to go further. But nonetheless, I don't know if you are going to go to Spain. I don't know if your plans are to communicate a lot or make acquaintances or make friends with people in Spain. So you need to understand how it works. Or maybe you're going to move and then you need to understand how to talk there. But even if you go there and you talk with ustedes instead of vosotros, they're going to understand you. Nothing is going to happen. If I go today to Spain, if I move today to Spain and I live there, let's say I'm going to stay in Spain for 1 year. Maybe after the year, I'm going to get vosotros. Maybe, because human beings do that, right? We adapt to the language. We adapt to a lot of things. We get the accents. Anyhow. But if I get there right now and I start talking, hey, ustedes qué dicen? Nothing is going to happen. They are going to understand. They will understand in Spain. Remember that in Spain, there are some regions in which they do not talk Spanish, or the Spanish is kind of like a dialect. They have dialects, but nonetheless, for general purposes, Spanish from Spain uses vosotros, and Spanish from Latin America, we have ustedes. That's it. So that's something that we show there. And coming back, I hope that that's gonna be good for an answer for your question. Let me know if you still are in doubt. So you still have questions. We still like I didn't quite understand, but I think that's pretty much straightforward. Anyhow, so when building sentences, because we need to start building sentences, we just need to think about subject, verb, object. That's it. And at first, use the pronoun. Don't worry about, oh, I have to skip the pronoun. No, don't worry. Use the pronoun. Get used to that. Because you need to practice. You need to understand, oh, yeah, I know that the conjugation for this or that, for this and that. The more you get, the more you practice, the more you get exposure to talking to native speakers and so, the more you're going to get used to skipping the subject. That will come in time, but you need to practice, and the best way to start is by using the pronouns, so you can understand in your mind. You can understand, yeah, I'm using subject, verb, object for the sentences. You see, the structures are easy because yo me llamo Miguel, affirmative sentences. Yo no me llamo Miguel, negative sentences. Yo me llamo Miguel, interrogative sentences. It's so easy. So the idea for you is to start practicing that. And we do skip the pronoun. We do that a lot. Personal pronouns, most of the times we do that. Why do we do that? Because the verb conjugation most of the times tells who are we talking about. The verb conjugation. This is something that doesn't happen in English. For English, if I go in let's say I say, I played football. Yesterday, I played football. But if I say, yesterday we played football, I'm using the same verb conjugation. So there's no way whatsoever for me to make a difference between I or you or we based on the conjugation of the verb, because it's the same. I played, you played, we played, they played, she played, it played. It's the same conjugation. And in Spanish, it's not the same. Yo jugué. So if I say jugué, I already know that I'm talking about yo. Yo jugué. Jugué ayer. Okay. Jugamos ayer. Nosotros jugamos. I already know because I'm used to that. Nosotros jugamos. So that's the reason why I'm telling you, for practicing and studying purposes, do not drop, do not skip the subject in your sentence structure. Please practice a lot. Subject, verb, object. Subject, verb, object. Build your sentences, basic sentences. Check the videos in which I go with all the conjugation forms and start doing that, and choose a verb. Comprar. Yo compro un libro. I buy a book. Yo no compro un libro. I don't buy a book. Yo compro un libro. Do I buy a book? And then let's move to another pronoun. Tú compras un libro. Tú no compras un libro. Tú compras un libro. Do you buy a book? Usted compra un libro. And so and so. So this is very important for you to start doing. So let's wrap it up. In a nutshell, we have learned our personal pronouns, the differences for you, the uses for it in English, the differences that we have for it. We don't have an it in Spanish. The structure for the sentences is fairly easy. Perfect. If I'm going to make my life easy, I just change the inflection for the same affirmative sentence structure if I want to ask a question. Tienes dinero. Affirmative sentences. Tienes dinero? interrogative sentences. No tienes dinero, negative sentence. It's easy. The structure is easy. So start practicing that a lot. Choose verbs. Build an affirmative sentence, a basic sentence, and start changing that for a negative and interrogative form. That's fairly easy, but do that a lot. And try to identify that when you're practicing, when you're on your active listening practice. When you go check your TV show, your series, movie, or you're listening to news or somebody who's speaking Spanish, try and identify that, and you will see how it works. How it works so easily. And get used to practice the different ways of tú, of you, tú, usted, vos, ustedes. If you want to go further with vosotros, you can omit vosotros, unless you're going to talk a lot with people from Spain and you want to master that. Go with that. But you can choose one for you, for your communication. You can choose one. And let me tell you something. I've heard a lot of non-native speakers speaking in Spanish with basic Spanish, and most of them, they go with tú. And I don't feel uncomfortable if they address me as tú, because I understand they're learning their language, they're trying to communicate, so it's okay. We're relaxed about that. So unless I don't have you're gonna have any trouble if you go always with tú, or if you want to go always with usted. So you're gonna say, okay, I'm going to go always with tú or usted, so I can get used to the verb conjugation rules. But I need to practice the other forms, because if somebody talks to me, I will understand better, right? So that's the thing. So that's basically it for tonight. It's a lot. It's basic information, but it's a lot, because with this we're going to start working on communication, because you already know how to build sentences. So what's your mission? Your mission, should you choose to accept it. Your homework for this week. Remember, we have this week, hopefully we're gonna have class again next week, Tuesday, same time. Your homework, your mission is to practice this a lot. You have tools. I have videos in which I go, give me a second. What if I replace the word to? Nothing happened. You need just to make sure to use the right conjugation, right? And if you see the video that I'm premiering in 20 minutes, I'm premiering a video. It's a pre-recorded video. I explained that for the simple present, the conjugation rules for tú and vos are different, but for the simple past, simple future, and the tenses is the same, tú and vos, the conjugation, so it's easy. So it's okay if you go with that. I would say it's okay. It's not an issue if you do that. You can choose tú, usted, or vos. But remember, tú is close relationships, informal. Usted is formal, and vos it's more like informal, but it's like half, right? So you can choose any of. You don't have any issue if you choose one or the other, as long as you understand what's the thing. So let's say right now, if I go to the doctor, most likely I'm going to address the doctor as usted, unless we have met before and we have already a relationship, doctor patient, right? I would say, hey, ¿vos qué pensás? And even tú, but anyhow. So this, I don't know if you have any other questions. That's it for today. You have a lot to practice. You have a lot to study during this week, and hopefully we're gonna have fun next week, working with some other stuff based on what we have learned and what we have learned tonight, and what you have practiced the whole week. So I see that that's pretty much it. I don't see any further questions. So it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I really enjoy this, and I hope you do too. So remember, if you like this video, please, you know what to do. Share with your friends, group, social media. This helps me a lot. When you like the video, when you watch the whole video, when you share the video, that helps me a lot to grow as a channel, to get to more people who want to get interesting resources for learning Spanish. Hopefully, I'm gonna be able to help as much as many people as many people as I can. Now I mixed up. So thanks a lot for being here tonight with us. Study a lot. Take care. Cuídense mucho. Gracias por haber estado acá. Pasen una feliz noche y nos vemos la próxima semana. Chao.